testing the camera right here to see if you guys can see me well sitting right here, and if you can hear me well, because it's like 6 o'clock in the morning that I'm feeling inspired, so I don't want to wake anybody up. So give me just a second to check this angle. Alright, that's not bad. That's not bad. I can handle this. I can do this. Okay. Peace and love, folks. Welcome back, or welcome to the channel. I was supposed to post a video yesterday for our van life build, but if you are astrologically inclined, which I don't even know what the title of this video is going to be yet, so it might probably most likely be astrologically inclined, but I'd like for people who aren't astrologically inclined to find it, so I honestly don't know. But Saturn just recently moved into Aquarius. Thank God. Thank you so much. You don't understand how much I appreciate it. If you know about astrology, you know what I mean. And if you don't know what I mean, Saturn is the restrictor. Saturn is like the hard teacher. It's the pressing down on your life and just like crunching you and making you so fatigued and drained, but for good reasons, for a good purpose, to teach you a lot, to help you release things that aren't you. It like crystallizes you down to your fine energy and releases everything that has built up on you that is not you. So still very thankful, but it was on my house of identity for 2 years basically, since last March, and it's still in my first house because I have all of Aquarius in my first house, but what can you do? But I made this whole video, and I'll probably add some little clips here and there because I just figured out how to do that on the Movie Maker thing. And I was showing kind of what I did the last day Saturn was in Capricorn, and I don't know, I just really wanted to commemorate that. And now that Saturn is in Aquarius, we have Jupiter moving into Aquarius as well. That means they're going to be both 0 degrees Aquarius on Saturday, tomorrow. And I did kind of want to talk about this, and I guess that's kind of what I'll maybe title this video. Saturn and Jupiter going conjunct means they're going to be in the same degree, in the same sign, basically holding hands. They're going to be holding hands on Monday, December 21st, which is also the solstice, the winter solstice, which is also Yule, which marks like the end of darkness. Hold on. I'm just going to read it to you from oh, there's my little acupuncture pen. I'm just going to read it to you from this book really quick, the Book of Shadows Tarot. So, Yule. Let me tell you real quick what this book tells you about Yule, and so you can kind of understand what energy we're coming into. Yule is one of the Sabbats on the wheel of the year that people who follow the like cycles of nature and the seasons of nature, this is how they go by their calendar year versus like, you know, Christmas, they'll say Blessed Yule. And Yule represents the death card. And it is very much this time of year if you're living somewhere that's cold, or even if you just kind of understand like the ending of one year, the beginning of new year, it's the end of things and the beginning of new things. It's a cycle, it's a circle. So I'm just going to read this really quick. On the longest night of the year, winter solstice or Yule, the Great Mother gives birth to the sun god, and pagans celebrate the return of light to the world. At Samhain, which is on Halloween, when the god dies, he takes the light with him. After the winter solstice, the sun begins to return, and so does the god, in the form of a baby. Yule is a joyous celebration of the return of light, life, and warmth. Yule is also a celebration of faith. The light has not actually begun its return, so it is an act of faith to believe that it will return. The moment of the longest night before the lengthening days is brief, like the moment of death. It is nearly impossible to pinpoint the exact moment that one thing ends and another begins. Nearly impossible, but that moment does exist. This card shows that moment, when the Holly King hands over rulership to the Oak King. So that's the energy that we're coming into, and even if you see how they're passing this along, imagine more like that's the conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter holding hands, moving out of Capricorn, which is, Saturn likes to be in Capricorn, which is just work, 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 build, 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 patriarchal kind of energy, like structure, structure, structure. We're moving out of all this structured, tense, rigid energy into a new period a new dawning of a new era. That moment in between is shifting and happening like right now in your life, in our lives, in the collective life. And so I guess like the reason I want to bring this up is because it's good to kind of be conscious and aware of that when it does happen, so you can take note of the things that are happening in your life. So Jupiter and Capricorn moving into Aquarius at 0 degrees. If you look up what each degree, people have like channeled or like taken in some type of intuition and written what they think each degree of each sign means. And at 0 degrees Aquarius, it said it was a wreath hanging over 2 crossed swords. So these opposing wills, opposing forces, there is now a wreath hung around them. There is now peace, there is now happiness, there is now joy, there is now release. And I feel that with Jupiter and Capricorn holding these hands, shaking hands, joining together in Aquarius energy. Aquarius energy is about future thinking, forward thinking. It's about change. It's about humanitarianism, where we're no longer thinking of the individual I. We're thinking about the collective we. We're moving into a state of mind now where we recognize the importance to support each other. The importance to support each other, not like, oh, I guess I can help you. It's more like we need to help each other. We should help each other. We are. Without the clothing, without the houses, without the cars, without any of the objects in your life, we are all humans. We are all living on a planet. And sometimes it's hard to remember that we're on a planet because of all these things around us. We are on a planet that is turning right now in space. And even if you can't see through the sky right now, there still are stars and other planets doing other things outside of us. I think it's a time, because Aquarius is that future forward thinker, they are also higher up in their like vision. So I think this time with Saturn and Jupiter, which are considered generational planets, which means that because they move so slowly, so many people are born with those placements. Children being born right now are going to have Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius. They are going to help continue to usher us into the age of Aquarius, because by the time they're getting older and conscious enough to make their own decisions, they're going to have an energy of Aquarius in them that is so strong. And they're going to be like, I'm not living under a patriarchal system like that. I'm not going to just do things that people tell me to do and not question it and form my own opinions and ideas. I'm not just going to believe everything you tell me. We need more of that energy. So I'm very excited for this time. And Aquarius is also, I don't know, every time I've thought about Aquarius energy, they are considered the alien of the wheel. They are considered different because every Aquarius is different. Just like all of us are different. Each person has a very unique, different life. But we are all here together for a more collective reason. We, even outside of our individuality, even outside of Aquarius's individuality, their thoughts aren't on them, they're on the collective. When Aquariuses think about things, they think about how it affects the whole. And that's the age that we're moving into. So I'm very excited. With that being said, on December 21st, on Yule, really expect for this energy to, how do I explain this? Wherever it's sitting in your houses, if you follow your birth chart, I would definitely recommend looking into your birth chart if you haven't, looking into where planets fall into your houses, how they affect your life, because the houses are areas of your life. Wherever that is, wherever Saturn and Jupiter are, expect massive change there. Expect a huge shift there. Expect it. Anticipate it. And it is Yule. It is the beginning of light, the beginning of joyous times, the beginning of the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Like that song you heard, everyone's heard it, and we've all just kind of sung it and never really thought about it. But now that time is here. The dawning of the age of Aquarius. And I don't know, I think it feels really good. I feel like we're really going to be moving out of a time where we live under a patriarchal system, and I don't want to speak too much on those things on my YouTube channel. I'll be talking more about stuff like that on my Patreon, because I have a lot of conspiracy theories, a lot of thoughts that are probably going to be very controversial to the typical platform that is presented on YouTube. But we're moving into a beautiful new time with a lot of new opportunity to really change things, because this year, as you know, Capricorn is that it breaks things down and builds them back up. It breaks things down. Pluto is also helping this, because Pluto is also in Capricorn, so Pluto's dismantling, and Saturn is like restricting that Capricorn energy. So we're seeing systems break down and seeing how they don't have a good backbone anymore. They don't have any good foundation. The things that we're still living on, like the rules and the regulations and everything that we live our lives based on, was built on a foundation way past the time that we're living now. And it's always good. We update our phones all the time. Why wouldn't we update the systems and rules that we live by? Especially as we all grow and change, which we should all be doing. Should not want to continue the same cycles that don't bring any growth or change. So I feel that that's also something Aquarius is going to bring in. I'm so excited. I'm just so excited, and I honestly could talk about this stuff all day, because I can just imagine such a beautiful future if we all, as individuals, choose to be a part of that change. If we choose to kind of feed into the same system, the same foundations, the same things in our lives and outside, in a more larger sense, in the government, in our workplace, in just the things we do because that's how they're done. If we don't move into Aquarian thinking, which is like, how can I do this differently? How can I make this better for other people? How can I do this to help the earth? How can I do this to help animals? How can I do this to help people? How can I do this to be energy efficient? Thinking in a future forward thinking way. Look up any Aquarius placement. Look up any person who had Aquarius, and they were thinking way ahead of their time. They were thinking about things before we even knew that we needed to be thinking about them. And that's the age that we're moving into now, is future thinking, forward thinking about living a better way, a healthier way, which we can all do. Imagine if every single person on earth left out their titles, not a government, like not a governor, not a politician, not a mom, not a manager, not an employee, removing all the labels and titles that we give ourselves, taking all of that off, and just being like me, as the person I was born into this lifetime around, me as a little child and the things I love to do, me as someone who could do these things that makes me happy and share it with other people, make them happy, help them grow, help them heal. Imagine a world where we all just got to be ourselves and share things that made us happy, that brought joy, that brought life, creativity, brought healing, and that could be the way that we all lived. That is potential, that is possible, not even on a minor scale, but on a grand scale. But you have to start somewhere. And I think it's going to be up to a lot of our generation and generation underneath us, and hopefully some of the generations before us, to want that change and to know that it is possible, to know that it is real, to take a lot of the layers off of the eyes, a lot of the things that are around our lives, move them out of the way, and just take a look at the bigger picture. And just be like, yeah, you know what? We are a collective human race on a planet, and we could be that greater change. We are one of the highest forms of life on this planet, yet we do the most damage to this planet. We are one of the most evolved species that's able to have thought, that's able to grow, that's able to change, yet we don't. Why is that? I feel that that time is coming now with Aquarius, and we are going to become the voice for animals on this planet. We are going to become the voice for the oceans and the waters. We are going to become the voice for the earth. We are going to become the voice for this planet, for ourselves, for us as humans, against a higher up system that tells us that we need to listen to them. Why? Oh, because we just need to. What care do they have for your life? What care do they have for the planet? What care do they have for those things? Do they? How do you know? You don't. The only thing you can know is to change your own personal life, the things that you do. And if we all do that, it ripples out. Like, the best analogy I could think of for this was like, you know those movies where like there's a whole bunch of collective people, like, you know, the world is like a kind of end of the world vibe, and all these different people like wind up in a grocery store, and they're all like fighting for food, and everyone's going crazy, and they all have different lives and all these different things going on, and they're very hectic and chaotic, but one person like kind of stands up and they're like, hey, why are we doing this? Why don't we all work together, etc. and so on. I feel like so many movies like that have been coming up because that is an energy we're going to enter into at some point in time, maybe. With the next 4 years of the things that are happening and changing, this started this year. 2020 marked the start of this change. By 2025, we'll be living in a completely different world. Imagine all those people, imagine all those people just representing all humans, and one human, the individual, stands up and says, "Hey, why don't we do things differently? Why don't we try this? Why I'm going to do all these different things in my life." And then someone was like, "Yeah, I'm going to do that too." And then everyone decides to do it, and then they're like, "Oh wow, we do have a lot more control over what's going on here. All we have to do is maintain sovereignty over ourselves and our choices and our reality and our perspective." And then if everyone decides to do that and stop worrying about everyone else and just worry about themselves, ta-da! That's my thought process on that. And I really hope that begins to happen, and I can see that happening. My partner and I are about to be living van life, and I just imagine that doing that is going to introduce us into a whole new society. And I say society because there are so many people doing it now that I think, I lived out of my car earlier this year, and I really liked it. I didn't have like any possessions on me. I got to travel. I got to meet new people, see all the animals in nature. I got to see all these new places. I just got to be a person. I just got to experience and explore and share it with people on my channel. And I really enjoyed that. And I feel like people who do van life as a society kind of are okay with living a simpler life without having all these things that don't create happiness, without having all these things around us to make us feel like we are happy, but we're not. I feel that entering into van life is going to provide even more opportunity for us to find more of who we are, to have that platform then to create the space to help others and to help make a change and to encourage others to do things for their life, for their reality that make them feel more alive, make them feel more authentic, make them feel more at peace, have more happiness. And so I feel that imagine societies like that, like van life societies, people just driving around, exploring. Obviously there are some people who live van life who live it a little differently than the traditional van lifer, and that's because everyone has a different path. But for the most part, people who are choosing to live that way are considered outcasts, are considered not normal. That is Aquarius energy, outcast, rebellious, not normal. And it's not because people put labels on things that they don't understand because they don't understand. But if you take a second to zoom out and just look at their life and look at what they're experiencing, they're happy. They find joy there. It shouldn't be about you're doing something that doesn't make sense, so you shouldn't be happy. It should be, oh, you found your happiness. I'm going to go find mine. Once we leave out of that ego and out of that, low vibrational energy and enter into just observing and understanding and be like, okay, that's what they're doing. What would that be for me? When you start thinking in that way, when we start thinking in that way, I think it's going to start bringing about a lot of changes. A lot of changes. I'm excited to start van life. I'm excited to live that way. And I'm hopeful that along the road we'll be able to inspire other people. We'll be able to encourage other people to just live their truth. It doesn't have to be in a van. Just live your truth. Live what speaks to you. No matter who around you is going to make you feel weird about it, no matter how many times you hear jokes about it, no matter how many times people ask if you're still sure you want to do that, no matter how many times there's doubt brought to you outside of yourself, it doesn't matter. It's about what you know. It's about what you believe. As long as you stick to your truth, nobody else's truth is going to affect you. It's only your life. So all these things I'm talking about are things that are going to be starting to be brought up during this Saturn and Jupiter and Aquarius time. It's going to be a beautiful time. There are going to be so many opportunities coming for you to have that life you truly desire outside of the jobs that you don't want and the realities that you don't want to be a part of and the routines you don't want to have anymore. There are going to be opportunities to live outside of that, but half of it is us deciding to just keep going even when other people make you feel bad about it, even when other people doubt you and question you and make you feel afraid to be yourself. You have to keep going. Take on that Aquarius energy and be like, I'm living my truth. I'm speaking my truth. That's all I can do. And I hope that, you tell them, I hope that you do the same. That's all you can really do. And just hope that, people leave you alone. But what can you do? You can be an inspiration for a lot of people by deciding to be that way. And I'm glad that the people who I saw on YouTube living van life decided to be brave and do it no matter what, because it inspired me. And that's what I want to provide for other people, and it creates a ripple. Like I said, the individual making that choice, and then you see and you're like, and then it inspires you, and then we just keep doing that. That's what I see happening, and that's what I'm going to continue to manifest happening. So, on December 21st, winter solstice, Yule, Saturn, conjunct Jupiter, a great day to manifest, a great day to visualize the change you want, a great day to start marking the start of the beginning of the light, the dawning of the age of Aquarius, of freedom, of happiness, of peace, a healthier earth, healthier people, healthier relationships, governing ourselves, living off of the earth. The earth provides everything we need. Creating inventions that are helpful for us and humans and people, and animals, for everything to have a higher vibration, to truly live in paradise. Earth was a paradise, and it can be paradise again. That marks my cue to finish up. It has to start somewhere, and I wanted to start with us. I wanted to start with people who know this life they want to live, who have been thinking about these things they want to do, and they're like, no, but, like letting that go and being like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. That's Aquarian energy. And I don't know, you're gonna be so amazed at how good you feel, how happy you are with so little when you just live the way that makes you happy. Truly happy. That brings you joy outside of anything else. That, like, something you do and you don't have to think about it. It's just natural. It just makes you feel like a kid again. It just makes you feel like jobs don't matter, money doesn't matter, life, death, nothing matters. You're just you. You can just be. You're just happy. That's what I'm hopeful for. That's what I'm manifesting. So on that day, just kind of, journal, write, talk, envision, daydream, however works for you, to think of that life you really want, to think of the changes that you want. And I don't know, I'm just really hopeful that this reaches somebody and makes them think about something a little bit. Because I remember when I started thinking this way, and when you can envision it, then you can make it real. If enough people picture this kind of reality, it can come into being. And I would love to be one of those people who helped bring it about. So thank you for listening to this random video that I didn't really, like, I always never really know how it's gonna go until I just start yapping my mouth. But yeah, so I hope this message finds you well. I hope you're excited for all the things that are happening in the sky, that are always happening, that we don't always necessarily like remember are happening. I hope you're more aware of the sky when you walk outside. You kind of look up at night and see a star, and you kind of just stare at it and connect with it, and you realize, there is stuff going on out there, and it's going to be happening down here. The sun and the moon affect us every day. Why not the other planets? They do. And the more we connect more to the energy of, like, planets and the earth and animals and everything outside of, like, man-made items, when we connect back to that source and then integrate healthy man-made items, it's going to be so nice. Okay, thank you for watching this. If you've watched this far, I really appreciate you. I really hope that you feel something right now and you're like, you know what, yeah, I am gonna, I'm gonna take a minute to just sit right here and tell you how I became the Prince of Telco. I am gonna take a moment and just, like, think about what really makes me happy, outside of what my parents think makes me happy, what my friends think makes me happy, what my partner think makes me happy. And when I find that, not be afraid to choose that. Not be afraid to say, that is what it makes me happy. And yes, you are allowed to change your mind. Yes, you are allowed to switch gears. Yes, you are allowed to switch paths. It is natural and normal. And don't ever let anyone tell you that it isn't. You should never be the same way your whole life. That is not growth. That is not change. Everything is changing. Everything is growing all the time. And we should join along with it. The earth does it every day. And we are part of the earth. We go back into the earth. Okay. That is all I'm going to say. I hope you feel inspired. I hope you feel more connected to the stars and think more in this outer space mindset every now and then. If you feel moved to share anything in the comments, your thought process, your ideas, anything like that, feel free to. I love reading comments. And I love commenting back too if someone asks a question or anything. But I read every comment. And yeah, I will see you guys on my next video. I'm not sure what that's going to be or when it's going to be, but I'm really trying to stick to Sunday and Thursday, so we will potentially see you on Sunday. And yeah, have a beautiful day. or night, wherever you are. Peace and love.